Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks. Today is Sunday, November 4th, and I hope that everyone remembered to set your clocks back if you are in most of the US. Fall back. Yeah, I did that about an hour ago. I got up and I was like, wow, I slept really good. It's because I got that extra hour. I do feel bad, however, for my dispatch counterparts who work graveyards, because that meant that they had to work an extra hour over. So that's kind of a bummer. And I remember those days when I used to work graveyards. It just, your shift is long already, and now all of a sudden you've got this extra hour tacked onto your shift. It just doesn't feel good. So I feel for all of you people who work graveyard. But for everyone else, yay, we got to sleep in an extra hour. Okay, so I'm going to start with a new shawl that I started working on. It's a free pattern on Ravelry called Waves of Love by, I think it's pronounced Carla Denning. She's done it in, I'm sorry, I was kicking the camera. She's done it in a gradient colored yarn. I'm doing it in a single color, kind of. I think you might have seen it if you saw on Instagram. I don't know why I have this yarn. I had 2 cones of it. I don't know where it came from. Again, I have a lot of yarn that was gifted to me a long time ago by different people, so I don't know where this one came from. But it was 2 cones of this. This is called Maypole Worsted Yarns. And I believe it's called, the yarn base is called Willamette. Oh, I should have brought the tag. Rats, I'll have to insert a picture of the tag. But it's a lace weight yarn, and they called it a weaving yarn. I don't know why I have this, really. And it's kind of scratchy feeling, not horribly, but it's not super soft either. It's very thin. This is thinner than any of the lace weights that I have purchased. Super thin. So I got the 2 cones and I caked them up. One is a little bit more, I think this one wasn't a full cone. It's a little bit smaller, but they were, to show you how thin, this was 100 grams, 700 yards. So it's pretty thin. I guess maybe that does, now that I think about the math, maybe that does add up. Oh, my brain hurts. I don't want to think about math right now. I do know that the lace weight that I've used from Knit Picks, their tonal, I can't think of what it's called, shadow tonal, is 440 yards for 50 grams. So maybe that's thinner. That just seems thicker than this. I don't know. Anyways, I'm rambling on. But anyway, they called this a weaving yarn. And I'm assuming because it does have that scratchy quality. Sorry, I've got a notification covering my face right now. Hold on. Anyways, so this was in a camel colorway. I decided that I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to use it. And so what I did was I got onto Knit Picks. They were having some sales, and I bought this, which is their Aloft Silk Mohair. This is the Mongoose colorway. So I decided to hold this, all 3 strands together. And I started the shawl. I am just about to the left. There's a section that has these really cool little texture design. I'll show you. But I'm just about to that part, and then I'll start the next section. So it's moving along pretty quickly. It's knitting up as a fingering weight. I'm using a 4.0 millimeter needle, and this is what it's looking like. And I'm really liking it. The mohair has softened it up just a little bit. Mohair is still a little bit scratchy to me, but not unbearably so. And this would be something more I would wear over, because I don't normally wear my shawls this way unless it's super, super cold out. And it really doesn't get like crazy cold here all the time here in New Mexico. So this will be more something to wear over my shoulders, in which I'll have something on, of course. That would be weird to not have something on. Anyways, so this is what it's looking like. And this is the little stitch detail that I was telling you. I just think it's super cool. Like, I don't know how to show you because my needles are awkward. If you can see this here, it kind of looks like a spider stitch, but it's super cool. And in the picture of the shawl itself, it's more defined. I think that the halo of the mohair is kind of hiding it a little bit, but I really love this little detail. It's fun to work too. I like it. I'm just very excited every time I get to the rows that I work that on. I'm just very happy. I'm thinking I might use that in that specific detail in like maybe some socks or mittens or something. I love that little detail. It's just super cool. I hope it showed up well because I couldn't see through my shawl as I was showing you, but do it one more time. I just love that little detail. Super cool. So I'm having a good time knitting this. It's working up really well. I'm glad that it's this yarn that I didn't have any clue what to do with is working out. And it's a neutral color. Most of my yarn is very wild and brightly colored and variegated. And so this will be more of a neutral shawl. And I was actually thinking at the end of this, whenever I get to the bind off, I was thinking of doing a picot bind off and adding some beads because I've got some really pretty iridescent beads that are kind of like this brownish color, but when you kind of look at them, you know, that shows up other rainbowy colors, like kind of hidden, like not hidden, but like holographic kind of. But dead when you look at it straight on, the beads kind of look this color. So it'll be a nice little fancy blingy thing at the end of the shawl. So I'm very excited about that. Glad that it is I'm gonna be able to use it. You know me, I don't want to get rid of anything. I'm gonna try to use everything. So before I move on, I wanted to talk about a podcast, a new to me podcast that I just found this morning. And I have already watched 2 episodes while I was eating breakfast and doing dishes and everything. She was having me laughing out loud. My mom was laughing at me, laughing at the podcast. So I'm going to mention it. It is the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast, and the woman who hosts it her name is Leslie. She is a riot. She just has the best personality. She's just so funny. She's got like this kind of a little bit of a dry comedic timing that is just, I love it so much. She was on her first episode, she was talking about a cowl that she could never remember the name of, so she decided she was just going to call it her Simon cowl. I'm sorry. That's the kind of humor that I love. It's just hilarious. She was cracking me up. She would throw little things out like that, but just in a real straight-faced, you know, deadpan kind of way. And it was just like, I just love watching her. I've watched the first 2 episodes already, and I'm going to definitely watch some more later today when I get into knitting. So that's what I want to let you know. It was the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast hosted by Miss Leslie. Love her. Okay, so let's move on to another whip that I started, which I really shouldn't be starting anything. I am not even done with my bee socks. I'll bring that up in a minute, but I just keep getting distracted. But I did pull my next yarn for the Brown Bagging It Sock Club for the group of the same. Anyways, Brown Bagging It Sock Club on Ravelry. It seems like all of the participation has kind of slowed down on it, and it's really me and one other person who kind of keep talking back and forth amongst ourselves. I haven't seen and heard from the moderator in months, so, or from the person who opened the thread, but that's fine. I mean, I'm still enjoying the whole concept behind it, and I still post my pictures on there. I think that I'm the most active on there, and then there's another woman who kind of comes on there every once in a while, so I still do it. I still find that an enjoyable concept in using my yarns for what I intended, socks. So I pulled, and again, I put the label away and I don't know where it is, but there's this skein of loveliness. It's 100% wool. There is no, it's not superwash. It's very scratchy, and I got this a few years ago. I think it was 2016 when I went on my only ever knitting retreat up in Vermont. And I got this while I was there. And at the time, I think I was just so excited to be on this knitting retreat that I didn't even really pay too close attention to what the yarn felt like. But it's very scratchy. Definitely would not personally use this for a shawl. So it's been sitting ever since, and this is what I put in one of the bags for my Brown Bagging It Sock Club candidates, and this is the one I pulled. So what I've decided to do is start a sock cuff down. Most of my socks are toe up, but I'm going to do these ones cuff down. This is something like 380-ish yards for 100 grams. So I thought I'm definitely going to have enough for a pair of socks for myself, because I don't make the legs really long on mine, and I've only got a US women's size 7.5 foot, so I never use a full 100 grams. So I should have plenty and not have to worry about running out. Watch, with my luck, I'll end up with one sock with random weird looking toe. But so I started them cuffed down, mostly because I wanted to use my 9-inch circular. This is a 2.5 millimeter. I can use my 2.5. I can use my 9-inch circulars if I'm doing toe up, but that means I still got to start with the DPNs toe up and then switch to them. And the size needles that I'm using now are currently still stuck in my bee socks. So I really wanted to get these started. Ow, just stabbed myself at that tiny little point. So I've got these started. I'm a few rows in. I'm planning on incorporating, I think I'm going to do, these are going to be shorty socks anyway, so I should definitely have enough. I'm probably only going to make the leg about 4 inches, maybe 5, but probably only 4. And I think I can't decide if I want to switch after about 1.5 inches of rib to stockinette before I start the heel, or if I want to just do rib all the way down to the heel. I'm not really sure. But what I want to do is, I'm going to put a picture here of a lace panel that I want to put across the top of my foot. The other group that I'm in on Ravelry is the Delicious Death group, and like I've explained before, every month we read a different Agatha Christie book, and every month somebody from the group moderates that thread for the month, and they give out suggestions of different things relating to the different patterns relating to, in some way, sometimes they're very direct and literal, things that make reference in the book, or they're just kind of themes, very general. And this month was, she did something about, her theme overall was, since the book was called The Moving Finger by Agatha Christie, her theme was basically just keeping your fingers moving. So, you know, you could just continue to work on whips or whatever. And then she also included some Estonian lace patterns that she was really into, and that was what was keeping her fingers moving. So I kind of clicked onto her link and followed some of the patterns that she suggested. And this particular lace panel, I thought that would be really fun to make. And it's the right number of stitches to work across the top of a foot. I suppose I could do it on the front and back of the sock, which, now that I'm saying it out loud, I may actually do that. So I can have one panel on the back, one panel on the front of the leg, and then a panel across the top. But I don't know. I think I still kind of like just the flash of lace on the top of the foot. So I may just continue with that idea. I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be fun, and it's going to tie into her theme for the month. So I'm very excited. And it's just going to look really, really cool to have that little bit of lace stretched over the cross of my foot. So I'm very, very pleased with that. Bee socks. almost there. I'm almost there. I finally got past the heel. There's my little fish lips kiss heel. And I have just 2 more stripes to go before I start the lace panel of fluttery bees. So, and I actually think because I've been knitting these on DPNs, that's a scary mess. I think I might do, there's certain parts of the lace panel where you end up with yarn overs at the beginning of, or in between two needles. And so I might try to record myself doing that particular section. There's certain parts where making this part of the bee here ends up right between 2 of the needles. So that might be a little bit awkward. And I don't necessarily know how to explain how to do it on paper. So I might record myself doing just that section, just in case my pattern ends up being something that I do publish and I don't know how to really put what I'm trying to say into words. I think that most people who have any experience knitting lace on DPNs will be fine. But it's just kind of there in my mind and thinking, oh, maybe, you know, it would be a little bit helpful if there's a short little tutorial, but I don't know how to do that. I've never knit myself, or knit. I've never recorded myself knitting, and I don't know if my phone setup will work in recording, so I don't know. It's just a thought, but we'll see. And I'm almost to that point, so I better make the decision soon. Maybe today I'll try and figure that out before the light goes. Something else that I want to get started, and it will be a super quick knit. My son works in a call center and he has to wear a headset. And I think that he said that they don't get to take the headsets home. They're not personal. You know, it's for the job. It stays there. But the ear things, the covers, you can take off since, you know, it's touching your face and everything. It's touching your head, and I guess for hygienic purposes, maybe. I'm not really sure the reason, but you can take those parts home or keep them in your locker or whatever. And he has noticed that several of his co-workers crochet, and they have made themselves covers for their headsets, for the ear part. And so he asked me if I would knit him some. So I went and I found a pattern called something Easy as Pie Headphone Covers, and they're by, I don't know why I'm struggling trying to tell you because I wrote everything down. I got notes. Why am I trying to remember? Jocelyn Blair did the Easy as Pie headphone covers knitting. There was a few crochet patterns, but I wanted to knit them just because I think they would be thinner and softer than the bumpy material that crochet inherently is. So I'm not sure what yarn to use, but I kind of am leaning towards this. I'm going to ask him and he can go through my stash. But this is kind of what I am wanting to, just because I've had this little bit of sock yarn for ages. It's a random ball. I don't know what the rest of the ball was or where it came from. Again, I think this was something that was in an inherited bag that I got, so I don't know. But it looks like it's got long color runs, and I think that would look kind of cool, but I don't know, because then again, he may end up with 2 completely different headphone covers. Because the color runs are so long and these are rather small items. But I might actually have enough to make him 2 pair out of this, so that, you know, he can always have one in case he loses one or wants to wash them and still have the other ones, whatever. And the cool thing about these headphone covers is that they're started in the center and worked outward. And then your bind off is done over, and I think she's got a video tutorial of this, but it's worked over a hair tie so that there's the elasticity, so that, you know, taking it off, putting it back on, you know, it's not going to stretch out and be misshapen after a little while. That'll still be nice and snug over the headset. So that's really cool. This may not be the color that they end up being, but I'm definitely going to make those for my son. So let's see. Everyone keeps telling me I need to watch the show The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. So I may start that later today if I can tear myself away from the podcast I was telling you about earlier. So I may start that. We'll see. Not sure. Oh no, I'm not going to watch it tonight because tonight's Sunday. My son is coming over tonight and we're going to watch another episode of How to Get Away with Murder. So never mind. Excuse me. I'm going to take a quick drink of my tea because my throat is a little scratchy. This is just, hold on. This is just the Stash brand. And it's just the simple plain green tea. Stash. I don't have any sweetener in here. I'm getting much better at being able to drink my teas without sweeteners. Or very little. Where it used to be, I would make them super sweet. I can't do that with coffee though. I cannot drink coffee unsweetened or even minimally sweetened. It needs to be like candy. So I don't drink as much coffee. So this last thing that I keep grabbing and rattling, I finally got my last installment of the Indie Untangled Where We Knit subscription. And I am super, super excited. She's already made references to sign-ups for the next one for next year. So I'm super excited. This is totally my color. I'm in love. Love, love, love. This is the yarn that came. Dark Harbor Yarns is the brand, and this is an amazing tealy colorway. It's called Starboard. That's the colorway. And this is different than the other yarns. The other yarns were all basically sock yarn. They were all fingering, but the other ones were, you know, mostly just the merino nylon. This is 70% superwash merino and 30% silk. So I have never knit with anything that has this much silk. I do have silk in there that I think I showed you a while back from Expression Fiber Arts, but I haven't knit with it yet. So this is actually, no, I'm lying. Starboard is the yarn base. In the swing, geez, I can't even read because I'm trying to read backwards. In Swings the Tide is the colorway. So as I mentioned before, the Indie Untangled Where We Knit subscription was every month, or every installment, there's 4 installments. Every installment was a yarn dyer paired with a yarn, knitting designer. And so this yarn is going to be paired with a design by Amy Vandelar. And it's going to be the Wind Catcher shawl. So that's the picture of the shawl. Super, super excited. So the pattern isn't on here and there isn't even a code for it. I'll be getting an email with the PDF link. So super happy. I probably already have it. I haven't checked my email yet. I was super happy. So excited. I'm going to put this aside. It's going to be the most lovely tealy shawl ever. Super excited. And both of in this installment, both the dyer and the designer are from New Zealand. So very, very cool. Someplace that I really, really, really must go because I gotta go see all the little hobbit houses. Someday I will make it there. Today is Sunday. That means my New Orleans Saints are playing today. I think, I'm not gonna even say because I don't know who they're playing for sure, but anyways, they're playing today. So that's kind of cool. Although being in New Mexico, they don't always come on my local TV channels, and I don't have cable or satellite or anything like that. So I don't normally get to see the Saints play, but they're still my team and I love them. I'm going to show you this, and please excuse the mess behind me, but there's Aggie. Isn't she cute? The little monster. She's been so cranky lately. I don't know if it's just because of her age, but lately she's just been like cranky. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, as soon as I get up from this bed, she's gonna hiss at me. She's just very easily startled. She's just cranky all the time, and I adore her, but it just kind of makes me sad because I know she's getting old. So there's Aggie. I think that's pretty much all. It's starting to cool down here. I've got my furnace on and just trying to stay warm. It was so cold at last week's football game for my son. His high school football team, they just won the district championship, so they're going to be going to state, so that's going to be exciting. But yeah, it was so cold at the football game. It was so freezing, but we were having a blast, me, my mom, and my son, and we just had a really good time. It was a very intense game. I will see you all next week. Hopefully I've got my bee socks done. I really should, because it's the leg is going to go by super fast. As I recall from the first sock, the lace part is really quick and it's just fun to knit. So I should get the leg part done really quickly. I think it was just the striping that was taking me forever. So I'm going to try to work on that today. Hopefully I can get them done today, but we'll see. I'm going to try to go through all of my beads and see if I can find the beads that I wanted to throw on this. I'm going to just piddle around, I guess. I don't know. But I am going to also enjoy spending time with my family, and I hope that you get to do that as well. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'm going to remind you one more time, if you haven't done so and you're in the US where time change occurs every fall, today is the day to do it. Change those clocks. And as a matter of fact, I did tell you that I changed mine, but I did not change the ones in my car, and that's going to freak me out when I go to work tomorrow, so I better go out there and do that. So don't forget to change your clocks if it is done in your area regularly, which is so annoying. I wish we wouldn't do it. I don't like doing this. It really messes up my internal clock for a couple of weeks. So, but there you go. It is what it is, and don't forget to do that if you need to. Have a good night and have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Thank you for coming to visit with me. Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. Okay, this is going to have a lot of editing. I'm sorry. I'm very, very random right now. Anyway.